Hey guys, before we start this week's episode, we just want to make a disclaimer because in this episode, we talk about us adjusting to different cultures and we cover the topic of racism. And we just want to say that in no means do we want to generalize anything. These are merely our experiences. That being said, we hope you guys enjoyed this episode. Hey guys, welcome to Better Late Than Never. You're here with Cassie, Alice,
and Tanya
for our weekly night chats. So sit back, grab a snack, and enjoy.
Yo, I can't believe it's almost Christmas. I think I'm staying here away from home.
Same. I'm staying here too because of COVID, obviously.
Yeah.
What do we have in plan today?
How about we dive into not me, but you guys have experienced cultures differently across the world.
Ooh. Cassie, do you want to start with that? That's kind of broad. Do you want to
narrow it down a bit?
Yeah, let's narrow it down a bit. Okay, Cassie, can maybe briefly give us a timeline first, because I'm sure the audience doesn't know yet.
Well, I was born in Germany. When I was 4 years old, I moved to America, spent 2 years in California, then moved to Taiwan, spent 9 years there, so most of my life. And then I moved to Berlin, spent 4 years there, completed my high school degree there, and then now I'm in England.
That's a lot of moving.
Damn.
I'm quite fortunate, I would say. What about you, Alice?
I was born in Taiwan. I grew up there. I spent my 7 years there and then moved to Guangzhou, which is a city next to Hong Kong. Spent most of my life there, actually. A total of 12 to 13 years, I think. I'm not counting right now, but around there. And then now I am here in the UK.
But then you changed schools in Guangzhou.
Oh yeah,
right?
When I was in grade 4, I'm transferred to a Canadian school. I guess that's how I got my accent from. Yeah, and now I'm in the UK. I don't have a British accent, but yeah. What about you, Tanya?
Sweet.
I think you moved somewhere.
I've been here most of my life, but born in Manchester. At one point, I lived in Indonesia for a short time. And then for, I think it was 2 years, I lived in Saudi Arabia. Went to kindergarten there.
Aww.
And then I came back to the UK. And I've been here for the past 13 years, I think.
I feel like we all have very cool experiences.
Yeah.
Unique experiences.
Since we've all moved to different countries or different places, how about we kind of talk about some of the potential cultural shock experiences, or maybe just the differences that you might have spotted in a new culture and your reactions to them?
Well, when I moved from Germany to America, I was too young. I wasn't conscious enough to know, to experience any culture shock. But then when I moved from America to Taiwan, I did experience culture shock. Even the school is really different. When I was in America, you can have different ideas and everyone's unique and stuff. And then when I went to Taiwan, I felt like everyone was the same. And then if you were a little bit different, you would just stand out a lot. And then people would just point at you and oh, she's different, that kind of vibe.
Oh.
I remember I had sandwich for lunch, and all the other people, they had proper Taiwanese food.
What do you mean by Taiwanese food?
So a full-on meal, veggies and then
rice
and then meat and then just all the platters.
That's basically what I have right now.
Yeah, it's a typical Asian meal. But then my mom just gave me sandwiches and I was eating it. And then not the teacher, I think it was a parent, because she was helping distribute the lunch. And she was like, "You're just eating sandwiches? That's not filling."
But it is.
Yeah, exactly. And I got terrified. I was like, I'm different. What the heck?
I guess she was kind of concerned about nutrition and stuff, but she maybe have come off the wrong way.
Yeah. I understand her view, but I think culturally in Taiwan, people think that sandwiches are more like a snack. They're not that filling.
They're kind of like a breakfast food or snacks. Yeah.
And then there was this other time when I was wearing short sleeves to school, and it was a little bit chilly. In the morning there was sunshine, so I decided to wear short sleeves to school. But then it got a little bit chilly, and then I didn't realize that other people were wearing long sleeves. But then the teacher was like, "Oh, you're wearing short sleeves? Are you cold?" And then everyone, like the whole class, like 30 people looked at me. I was like,
oh Lord.
What the fuck?
Honestly, that's
Too
like
much attention.
What the heck?
that's like how Asians show affection. Not affection, but like care though. Like, you know how your Asian mom be like, "Oh, you're not wearing enough," or like, "Oh
yeah, my mom's
they're
like
always
that.
like my mom's always like that. My grandma's always like that. So I think it might be the Asian culture for sure.
Yeah, but that was like a really big cultural shock for me because I was like, oh my God, I don't want to be different. I need to be the same as everyone else. So I feel like those experiences, it kind of shaped the way I am right now because I don't really like to stand out in a crowd. But I feel like if I were to grow up in America, I wouldn't care that much because they're more about like individualities and stuff like that. And then from Taiwan to Germany, first of all, before moving, I was like really excited and stuff. I was like ready to get out of Taiwan because I was like really, really done with like the Taiwanese education. It was so stressful. I couldn't handle it. So I got there and I was like, oh, this is going to be so much fun and stuff. And then I got to the school and nobody really welcomed me. Like,
Oh, really? At all?
I was assigned a buddy to kind of take care of me, show me around, but then she did show me around like, in the beginning, but then she just abandoned me.
Dude.
What?
And then I was like lost in this school. I was like so lost, and I was like in an international school, and we had our own timetables, and we need to find our ways to different classes. And it's different to Taiwan because in the local Taiwanese schools, you just stay in one class, and then the teacher comes in and goes.
Wait, really? What?
Yeah, like
That's
you
with-
just stay with the like, same 30 people for like
The entire
3 years.
day?
For the entire day, yeah, every day.
For 3
Damn.
years in middle school. Yeah, so when I knew that I was going to an international school where I could go to different classes, I was like, ooh, this is so cool, like in the movies, right? Like,
how
I
I
always
felt
wanted to
in-
do that.
yeah.
Like, I always watch, like, you know, High School Musical or, like, other, like, American movies. I was like, oh, I want to, like, navigate my way, rush and go to, like, different classes and stuff. But then when I got to Berlin, I was scared. I was terrified because nobody was showing me the way. And I kind of realized that in a Western country or like in Germany, you kind of have to be tough yourself,
Yeah.
more independent, and it's different to Taiwan where people take care of you a lot. And then like when I got to Berlin, I feel like everyone was really independent. They know their own shit. And I basically had to learn everything myself, like where the classrooms were. And also, since like we don't stay in one classroom, we have like groups of friends. What do you call it? Like cliques. Yeah. That's the only time when people stay together, and it was very scary for me because I was new and everyone was like already in groups and stuff.
Oh yeah, that's the scariest thing. Moving in when
Yeah.
people are already together.
Awful.
Yeah, and in Taiwan, like since we're in the same classroom, you don't really feel lonely because you're always familiar with the same people in the same room.
That's true.
Even though you don't have like many close friends, you still feel like you're part of a family
Yeah.
because you're just
Because you're in the
stuck with
same
them.
class, yeah.
Yeah, you're
Yeah.
stuck with them for 3 years. But then in Germany, I felt really, really lonely. And yeah, I felt like even though they were in groups, they were very independent as individuals. Like, well, I felt like it was really inspiring as well.
Yeah.
Like I learned a lot through that, and I became more independent.
That's good.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's good.
My like classroom experience was probably quite similar to yours in Taiwan, to be honest, because obviously I was with the same class for the entirety of secondary school.
Oh,
And that's
damn.
probably why I got no independence.
Is it the same in England?
We have like sets in the UK, and obviously for different subjects you're in a different set. So you've obviously moved to classrooms, whatever. And that's actually one of the bits I was most terrified about from secondary school, was having to see new people each lesson. But luckily for me, I ended up in this fun little set where we all ended up with the same people for 5, how many years is it?
That's a long
5 years, whatever. And even though like I did make friends for them for like the first few years, you still feel like you know everyone, you know?
Yeah.
It gets comfortable.
Like it definitely takes some time. I just feel like when you're moving about in different classes and seeing different people all the time, it feels like it's really hard to grasp on something. Like it's really, really difficult.
Yeah. What about you, Alice? Maybe talk about like how it was like to change from a local school to a Canadian school, or maybe.
As I said, I spent most of my life in Guangzhou. Initially, because I wasn't like exposed to the accents, I was initially a little taken aback by the difference in the accent. I definitely remember myself feeling a little weirded out by the accent because it's not something I'm used to. But after a while, obviously, I got used to it. Coming from a place where you're listening to similar sounding ways of saying things, and then you suddenly shift to somewhere that says things completely differently, I think that's quite a difference for me. As for the transitions between schools, I feel like going from a local school to Canadian school, I think the biggest difference is definitely the ways they educate kids in schools. So in a local school, I feel like everything was quite strict. Classroom etiquettes were so strict, and then they didn't even allow us to go to bathrooms in class because they're like, you need to stay for the whole period in order to understand everything. And when I transferred to the Canadian school, I just feel like everything was so free. Yeah, quite liberal about everything. Another thing is definitely language. Like my English was pretty bad before I got to the Canadian school. Like I struggled a lot with understanding what teachers were saying, with what other people were saying. But like I would try my best to like improve my English, right? When I got home, I would tell my mom, I was like, oh, Mom, I think I understood 60% of the content today. And then I would compare with my brother. We would kind of talk about it. Yeah, so I think language was definitely the hardest thing to get used to when I moved from the local school to a Canadian school for me. And also like how openly the international school talks about everything. I mean the students, like for example, when I got to middle school or high school, like people just openly talk about sex or openly talk about like their own, I don't know, relationships and stuff. And it's just like quite different because in the local school or in the Asian community in general, I feel like, okay, relationships are like completely banned. So from what I know from people going to local schools, you absolutely cannot be in a relationship at school. Like the teachers will interfere with it. Once they find out, they will tell your parents.
Wait, what?
And then like they will legit call your parents and be like, I think your daughter is dating this boy from class and I think it's an issue that we need to deal with.
That is really strict.
Yeah, so that's what I mean by the Asian community suppressing all of these things quite a bit, like relationships, sex, mental health, for sure. Yeah, I think that's one of the biggest differences that I found from moving between schools like that. So what about you, Tanya? You said you lived in Indonesia and Saudi Arabia for a bit.
I mean, I was barely in school. Well, I mean, I was in school, but it was like kids' work on it. In Indonesia, I remember crying every day I went to school.
Oh my god!
I was really, really young. I was like 3 years old, I think, maybe.
But can I say, I also cried when I was in Taiwan. Like, I hated school.
Oh,
I loved school.
No, I hated the school in Taiwan. It was just so boring, and I really hated how people just judge each other. When I went to first grade in Taiwan, my mom would walk me to my classroom because I just hated going to school. I was like, Mom, can you go with me? And I would just like cry while I walked to my classroom, while I walk through the hallway. Yeah. Sorry to cut you off, Tanya.
That's cool. It's cool. Yeah, but in Indo, like if you had like dirty nails, you'd get your hands slapped with a ruler and stuff. And yeah, it was a bit intense. But I don't remember much of school there. In Saudi, I was only in kindergarten, so we just did jigsaw puzzles every day. We had nap time. It was bliss. What a great time.
Did you go to local school?
I was in I say compound. Everyone thinks it's like a prisonated system every time I say this, but it was just like a region of like expats, I think. Like it was an American school.
Okay.
And we did all our basic learning, alphabets, maths and all that. So like that was the main reason I spelt a lot of my words Americanized for the first few years of my life because I learnt there. But yeah, it was really fun. It was a nice time. But the school closed down because they couldn't get teachers. That's why we moved.
So that's the reason you moved.
Yeah.
I wonder if you stayed there, would you have an American accent?
Oh, I probably would.
Oh.
I did have a little bit of a twang when I was younger, but obviously I've been in the UK too long.
I can't imagine Tanya having an American accent at all.
That would be so weird. Damn. So then you moved to England.
Yes.
Because of that. And you moved with your sister.
Yes, me and my sister.
Older?
My 2.5 years old.
Okay.
2.5 years old, 2.5 years old older sister. and my dad stayed behind for work, but eventually he quit because he was like, the money's not worth being apart from your family and whatever.
Oh, so, exactly.
Yeah.
Family's important.
So now we all live here.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah, talking about language is a really important part. Like, I was born in Germany, so I just naturally learned the language when I was like 4. And then when I moved to America, I was also young. So in the beginning, obviously, I didn't understand anything, but I surprisingly learned so quickly. And at home, I was even talking in English. Like, I was talking Chinglish. It's like Chinese and English together.
That's cool.
That's really
it was
good.
amazing.
You really had that sponge brain.
Yeah, I wish I have that ability now. After spending 2 years in America, I moved to Taiwan. Well, I already spoke Mandarin in my house, so that wasn't too hard, but it was still kind of hard because I've never spoken that much Mandarin. It was quite hard for me. There was a lot of misunderstandings.
Misunderstandings?
Yeah, like I would just use weird words. But eventually I got used to it. And then after that, I moved to Berlin, and that was like my dad tells me, like, when you're at the age of 16, you still have the ability to learn a new language. You should take advantage of this time and learn German. But I felt like my brain was already like
saturated
in my 40s. I felt like I couldn't obtain anything. Like, it was so hard for me. I learned German really, really slowly. Yeah, now I've just forgot everything, even though I stayed there for 4 years.
It's so hard to retain a language if you don't use it, though.
I know, yeah. And German is hard. The grammar is so hard. But I really wish that I could speak German because I always admire people who are trilingual. They speak 3 languages.
Dude, I admire people who are bilingual. You're cool to me. I can't retain nothing.
Yeah. And also, back to the point when Alice talked about like people talking about sex, it was also quite shocking for me because people don't really talk about that in Taiwan. So I just assumed that people don't do that stuff in an early age. So when I got to Germany and then people were talking about sex, how they really wanted to have sex and stuff like that.
I just feel like from what they were saying, I was like, whoa, they already want to do adult stuff? Like, what?
Yeah.
I don't know, it's just so open in the West, isn't it?
And I remember in Berlin, I was 16 and my friends were 15 because I had to repeat a grade and stuff. And they were like, oh my God, Cassie, you're 16, you can drink beer. Because in Germany, you can drink beer when you're 16. So they're like,
wow.
I want to drink beer. Like, I can't wait until the time when I can drink alcohol. And I'm just like, oh, I don't really drink alcohol.
Yeah,
that was me too.
And they're like, shut up, Cassie.
Oh.
So yeah, they just really want to try new things.
They're really about, I don't know, too eager to grow up in the West, I think.
Yeah.
In the Asian culture, I think it's definitely, as I said, suppressed and like very conservative. And yeah, and then we would often associate people who have sex at an early age with people who are just like bad, messing around.
Who like don't care about their studies and probably, I don't know, end up with no job and stuff.
That's what the parents usually condition kids into thinking as well, like in Asian culture. So as I said, like, you know, how relationships and all that are like banned from school, right? And so like, okay, being in a relationship, you need to invest time into the relationship. That means you have to divide some time out of your studies in order to commit to that relationship. So that means you cannot wholeheartedly devote yourself into studies. So that means you're not focusing in school. That means you're not going to do well in school. That means you're not going to end up anywhere and you're not going to get successful. You're not going to get a proper job, not going to get into a good uni. So that's like probably their thought process.
It's also assumptive, isn't it?
Yeah, very, very assumptive.
When you talked about not being allowed to be in a relationship and not being able to go to the bathroom during class, I was like, wow, like what if you really need to pee?
Yeah, no,
so
honestly,
strict.
honestly,
Oh, yeah.
it also depends on the teachers as well. And also, like, my elementary school is quite messed up, so maybe that could be why.
Like some secondary schools here, they're really some teachers are really strict about bathrooms as well.
Mm.
Like our school motto was at one point, every minute counts, in
Oh,
which we
wow.
weren't allowed.
Whoa,
Damn.
So
that's
yeah,
very strict.
I'd say it really depends on teachers
Yeah.
half the time.
Definitely. Teachers, wow.
In terms of relationships in Taiwan, we were allowed to have relationships, but it's rare for people to be in a relationship in middle school. If someone is in a relationship, the whole school will know. And
What age is middle school?
13, 14, 15.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah, so it's really rare. It will be like a big news to everyone.
wow.
I think there's something worth mentioning as well. Like, since we're
Go
on the
on.
topic of relationships, I feel like the ways that people treat relationships or the ways that they behave in relationships are quite different between like an Asian culture or in Western culture. So as I said, like, we're quite conservative, right? So not a lot of public display of affection. We always have to be very, very, very secretive about everything. Even just holding hands in public, like, it feels very awkward.
Oh yeah, I've seen that.
Yeah,
Like,
it's true. It's
like you should be
honestly
conscious
true.
of others.
Yeah, like you
holding
have to be conscious of others because like the way that you present yourself in the public with another person kind of dictates how you are, and then like you wouldn't want to like ruin your image or whatever, or you know, it's also a form of respect. Like, I think that's what they're coming from. I mean, I personally don't like PDA either, so but in Western culture I think
It's
they're
very-
very, very open with
very
PDA.
open.
Yeah.
Yeah, that is probably also another cultural shock for me because in Taiwan, whenever a couple who are like in middle school holding hands, I'll be like, oh my God, look at them. Like, what the heck? They're doing this in public. And it's just like, ew, and stuff like that. But then when I went to Germany, people were already like kissing in the hallway.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I was like, what? Kissing? Oh,
Yeah, and they were only like 12 or something.
Yeah.
But obviously now, like, I'm really used to it.
Yeah, I just like don't really mind it. Really, it's their business. Like, I can just walk by it.
The PDA.
Yeah, I mean, like, it's none of my business anyways. If they
Yeah.
want to do it in
Just
public,
look away.
Yeah, just
Yeah.
look away.
just look away.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How did you guys adjust to living in the UK? Like, how was that like?
I mean, for me, because I went to a Canadian school, right? So I guess the language barrier is not there anymore. So that's like one thing that I don't have to worry about that much. But when I came here, I just found that it's quite difficult to get close to the British locals here.
Yep.
In my opinion, like in uni and things like that, because I feel like the drinking culture here is actually quite big.
I completely agree with you.
Yeah, like I feel like people very much like to socialize over drinks or
Yeah.
over like clubbing and things like that. Like, okay, I'm not opposed to those things, but at the same time, I want to have fun in other ways as well.
There should be alternatives.
There should be alternatives. I just feel like when they meet another British person, you just automatically feel like an outsider for some reason.
Mhm.
Because they're very, very much in touch with each other's cultures, even though they're from different parts of the UK, right? I don't know. Like, it's just very easy for them to get into a conversation with each other. And as an international student, I found it quite difficult to engage in a proper conversation with the British locals here. I'm sure they're not doing it on purpose. Like, I'm really sure, but it's just something that I found quite difficult.
I found it really hard to make friends with British locals. I don't know. I feel like they tend to get close really easily, but this is like generalizing. I feel like in the Asian culture, people make friends slower. Yeah, that was what I felt when I was hanging out with some British locals. I found it really hard to understand how you could get close with someone in just 5 minutes.
Yeah, I really don't know how to do that.
Right.
And it was really hard for me to open up. I had to like pretend. I had to like
Yeah.
try to like talk a lot to make them pay attention, because if I don't talk, they just don't notice me at all. Because
Yeah,
they
that's
just
true.
keep on talking and talking, and they just don't notice you anymore because you're silent. And I feel like in the British culture, you really have to, I don't know, like you
Yeah.
really have to like
yeah.
show your opinions and stuff.
Me too, as a British local, also find it really hard to make friends with British locals. Like all my flatmates, obviously, they're all, well, not all, most of them were British. They all made friends like instantly because like they'd go clubbing together and all that. But obviously, I don't like clubbing, so it's hard. How do you make friends with people? You start off quite fake, don't you?
Yeah.
But like,
yeah.
I feel like if I have to be fake, I don't want it. So
Yeah.
That's my thought exactly. Like,
I just don't bother.
And I
That's
didn't
that
feel
point.
like myself.
I
Like,
Yeah.
didn't feel comfortable.
yeah, I didn't feel like I belonged there. I feel like I was trying to be someone else in order to fit in.
And it's not a good feeling. So
Yeah.
there's no point in doing it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Obviously, it depends on the personality as well. Like, obviously, there are certain people who are easier to get close with and some people
Yeah.
who are, like, a little harder to approach. So, yeah.
Yeah, definitely. And we have different ways of having fun. Like, they like to go clubbing, drinking.
Which is not a bad thing, you know?
Yeah,
Like,
I
we're
mean,
not
we
trying-
we could have fun drinking and clubbing, but the way we do that is different. Yeah, like we also had like a New Year party, right? We also had alcohol. We had fun, but in a different way.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Wait, Cassie, when you came here, were there any British terms or British references that you didn't really get?
Just not get the slang.
slang.
Yeah, for example, when I went to the supermarket and I bought something, and then the cashier would be like, "Thanks, love." And I'm like,
They say
"Love?"
love a lot.
And then the
Thanks, love.
cashier was like, "A guy." I was like, "What?"
Is he confessing right now?
I was like, "Wow, you guys have like a really different way of talking."
Just add a bit of sweetness at the end. You're right, Doc. Thanks, love.
Duck?
Yeah.
And the way they text, like, they add a lot of X's to the end.
I hate that too.
Like, X, 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 X.
It's
like,
annoying.
capital X and, like,
Stop
lowercase
kissing
X.
me. I don't like it.
Yeah, why do they do that? I like.
It means
Do they do that to
kissing.
guys too?
They do it to everyone.
everybody.
Wait, why though?
I
Does
don't
it mean
know.
kissing?
I know I'm saying they. I am British. I don't like it.
Other than that, I feel like I adjusted to the. Well, I didn't really adjust to the culture because most of my friends are international.
Mm.
Yeah, I think overall it was quite easy.
I mean, obviously, like, despite saying all of that, like, of course we want to get close to like, some British locals here. Yeah. As for the British slangs, like pang or...
What is paying?
What
this
is
is so
pang?
This is so pang.
Huh?
Sexy.
Oh,
Say. Or like, you guys say fries as
Chips.
chips. But like,
There are different things.
no,
there
but
are
like-
fries and there are chips.
yeah, I think you should kind of elaborate on that. I feel like after you explain it to me, it's so clear now, and I can actually like see why.
Fries are the skinny ones.
Mm-hmm.
Chips are the fat ones. That's all there is to it.
And then the wedges are the
And
fatter
wedges
ones, right?
are like the potato chunks, often with skin on them. And also for any Americans, cookies and biscuits are also different things. A cookie is a biscuit.
Wait, what?
Biscuits is the umbrella term.
Uh-huh.
A cookie is
Like the round ones?
the type of biscuit. It's like your chocolate chip cookie.
Yeah, the
Wait,
round
so
ones, right?
What's
Yeah.
under the umbrella term of biscuits? Like, what
Like-
are some other?
I don't know, a custard cream, a bourbon, a jammy dodger, a ginger nut, a digestive, a rich tea.
Those things are like British to me, man.
You get
Yeah,
out all the
I
biscuit brands.
didn't understand half of it.
Same.
I was like, I thought you were talking about a type of tea.
I mean, they do go nice with a bit of tea.
Mm. Oh yeah, they really drink a lot of tea, right? Do they?
Are we going to
Tea with milk.
stereotype now?
Tea with milk.
Tea with milk's disgusting. I hate it so much.
But
What?
that's what they often
Yes, it is
do,
the
right?
British thing.
Yeah.
Mm.
My dad drinks a lot of tea.
It's quite nice. I'm getting into tea as well.
Oh no, you're becoming British.
Oh.
Yeah, I feel like I have gradually become, well, not really a lot, but the way I text, like, because like I'm involved in a society and most of them are British. When I text them, I also add the XX at the end in order to like reciprocate with them.
I mean, sometimes you gotta follow up so you don't sound rude.
Yeah, because if I don't like end it with like XX, it sounds like I'm rude.
I've never used XX even in like conversations with British people though. I use the colon smiley face
Yeah, yeah,
thingy.
yeah.
Yeah,
And
I use
that's
that a
okay.
lot. Yeah.
That works too.
Yeah, and I use like fab.
Oh, I never used that.
They always say fab.
Thanks.
Or do they say brilliant?
Brilliant. Oh, like I say brilliant sometimes in text.
I don't think the word brilliant's ever come out my mouth before. Who says brilliant? It's like a Boris word.
My illustration lecturer, he says, that's grand.
Oh yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I feel like British people say grand a lot. Grand. Okay,
really
sorry.
grand.
That's a really, really bad impersonation of a British accent.
It's just grand, love.
I feel like if British people are listening to this, they'll be like, what the fuck are you
Yeah,
saying?
they'll be like, what the hell?
Dude, I'm right here.
Oh, yeah. Are you like, what the fuck are you guys saying?
It's quite funny, really. It's very entertaining.
There is a more heavy question
Oh no, heavy.
that I have on my list. It's, have you ever experienced any racism in a new country?
Oh.
Oof, this is a heavy question.
Do you want to start off with that? I need to think about it a little.
Okay, I think I experienced racism more in Germany. In America, I didn't experience any racism because in the community I lived in, we had a really high Asian population. Half of my classmates were Asians as well. So there was no like racism. When I moved to Germany, I did experience some racism. I am fortunate enough to say that they weren't like very extreme, because my friend experienced being followed in a supermarket. She's from Sri Lankan, and when she was in London, she experienced being followed in a supermarket because they thought that she's gonna steal something.
Whoa.
And her dad, during the COVID period, her dad was wearing a mask, and a drunk person in Germany tried to take the mask off from her dad.
What?
Yeah, and her dad had to like slam the table or something to make him stop or something.
What the hell?
Yeah, I'm glad that I didn't really experience like that extreme, but I did experience some racism, and they're not okay. For example, when I walk on the street in Germany, some people would just shout "ni hao" at me. It's really, really rude to me. Like, some people don't think it's offensive, but I think it's really offensive.
Yeah.
Honestly.
First
like
of
the way they say
yeah,
it.
first of all, you are making fun of the language, because you're not saying it in a way that's like trying to like bond with my culture or anything. You're saying it in a
To
really
make fun.
yeah, to make fun of the language. You're saying like ni hao, ni hao. And second of all, I could be Japanese, right? So you're just thinking that all Asians are Chinese. That is so rude. So yeah, that's not really extreme. I also experienced like one time I was on a bus, and there was this, I don't know if he was drunk or anything or just crazy. He was just sitting behind me, and he was just swearing, and I could understand bits and pieces of what he was saying. I heard swear words, and I heard the word Chinesisch, which means Chinese. So I could guess what he was trying to say. He was just saying like, fuck you Chinese people, why are you here?
Wow.
And then
Gross.
I just ignored him, but I was quite scared because he could do anything to me, right? When I was like, oh my god, please leave, and then when his stop finally arrived, he jumped out of his chair and he lightly slapped me on the cheek.
What?
He was just like, yeah, Chinesisch, and
What
slapped
the hell?
me on the
What?
cheek.
What
Oh
the
my
hell?
God.
Yeah, and I was like, I was so shocked. I just like kind of jumped because like, what the heck? You touched me, right?
What the hell is this?
But
This is ridiculous.
yeah, but luckily, I'm glad that he didn't actually like slap me. He just like lightly touched. But still, that's not
This
okay
is
at all.
absolutely unacceptable.
Yeah, that is worse.
Wow.
Yeah, and then he just left, and then I wasn't really overreacting because I kind of was used to like racism in Germany.
Damn, that really sucks that you have to say that.
Yeah. No,
Yeah.
like it really sucks.
Yeah, there is a lot of racism in Germany, and people are quite direct when they are racist. And my sister told me that when she was on the tram, she was talking English with her friend, and this old German lady was like, "You're in Germany, you should only speak German. Why are you speaking English?"
Huh?
Luckily, my sister's friend stood up because she knew how to speak in German. So she was like, "We're international students. Why can't we speak English?"
Damn.
So,
God, it
yeah,
sucks.
It's so.
It sucks. And it
Damn.
sucks to say that I was used to it.
Yeah,
that's
it's really
bad.
sad to hear that.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Yeah. Oh my god, wait, I have another one.
Oh no,
Oh my
more.
God.
When my friend from Taiwan came to visit me in Berlin, I took her to like the Berlin Wall, and there were some kids and we were just walking past them, and then they were speaking German to me. First he was saying like hello, blah blah blah, just like some random like small talk, and I just ignored him because I know he's just trying to be annoying. And then he kind of got annoyed and he was like, oh, you're not even worth my jacket, or stuff like that.
Excuse me?
Yeah, and then his group of friends started laughing. And I think he was like
What?
12 and I was like 18. And I was like,
Huh?
oh my
Well,
god, this is
Kids.
oh my god, this is so messed
What
up.
the
Like,
hell?
yeah. And then he thought that I didn't understand, but I could understand exactly what he was saying.
I want to punch this kid.
Oh,
I want to give him a punch.
Yeah. Oh my
This kid
god,
is
like
messed up.
it really is messed up.
Oh my God.
Anger.
I'm like boiling right now.
I'm
It's
fuming.
Disgusting.
Yeah, I feel like in Germany it was quite tough for me.
Yeah, sounds rough.
Sounds rough.
Yeah, and you kind of have to speak German to make people respect you, because if you don't speak German, they would look down on you. And I remember oh my god, this is another story.
Oh
my
no.
God.
So I would go to German classes outside of school.
Mhm.
And this is like a stereotype, like German receptionists are quite rude.
Mm.
And I was trying to ask something. I forgot what I was asking, but I was asking something in German. And I was speaking like my poor grammar. And she replied to me and I didn't understand. I was like, wie bitte, which is like, sorry, in a polite way.
Mm.
And then she just like shouted what she was saying. All I needed was more like elaboration.
Yeah.
But she just said it in a really rude way, like, are you stupid? Like, blah, blah, blah. And she just like repeated everything she said. She would say it so fast and so loud. And I'm just like, bro, like, this is a German institute. Aren't you supposed to be nice to foreigners, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
What the hell?
Bro.
Wow.
There are
So,
no
yeah.
words.
Sounds intense.
Traumatizing.
Yeah.
Sounds traumatizing.
Yeah,
What about you guys? I already talked about a lot of my experiences.
Racism. I mean, I'm very, very fortunate to say that I haven't experienced any racism, but obviously it's a really, really serious issue that we need to address, honestly. Like honestly, guys, it's 2020, man. Honestly. But my aunt has told me her experience with racism, actually. So obviously, you know, with the difference in the time period, obviously the amount of racism being experienced is different, right?
Yeah.
So she was in the US, I think in the 80s or 90s or 2000s, I forgot. But she just said as she was on a bus, like going about in her day, some kids drove by the bus and then saw the group of Asian people that she was with, and then they were swearing at them and they were like pointing the middle fingers at them, just like all of that. So yeah, that's my aunt's experience. Honestly, like with racism, as you know how sad it was to hear Cassie saying that she's used to it.
Yeah.
I feel like we experience so much racism that education about accepting the racism is even necessary in the household. Like I've been told by my family, like my aunt, like they're not trying to say that it's an okay thing. They're just saying that, you know, it's just something that exists, and then I think we might have to live with it for quite a while. And then we would like think of ways, like if, for example, someone treats you in a racist way, like what would you do? Would you like go back at him or her, or would you just like ignore it? And then they're like, sometimes it's best to just ignore it because there will be so many instances that you will encounter and you can never count. So it's so sad to like actually say this, but it's true. Like my aunt literally tells me, like even with job finding or going out into industry, like she's like, when you're in a foreign country, being an Asian, automatically sets you at a disadvantage. Yeah, that's what they've been telling me. And they're like, so you need to be strong, you need to like voice out more and things like that. Yeah, you need to try even harder, like double the effort of everyone else to just be on the same page, maybe. Yeah, so it's so sad.
Exactly. Yeah.
Even though like the UK is like massively multi-ethnic, there's still so many microaggressions. Yeah, like for me, when I was in school, I'd get like loads of konnichiwas and air quotes Chinese noises
Oh my god.
at me, people doing bowing heads and all that stuff. I was just standing outside a corner once and someone was like, I'd smash that Chinese one. I'm like, please
What
don't
the
do that.
Wait, how old were you?
This was like 2 years ago.
What? 2 years ago? That's not long ago.
Honestly, like the Western image of submissive Asians is just awful.
Yeah. Okay, I know I've said it a lot of times already, even though we say like we're conservative, but that doesn't give anyone the right to take any advantage from us. Like we still show our strength and power, but in a different way, you know? Like just because we're different from you guys doesn't give you the right to treat us like that. Oh my god, I'm boiling right now. I'm so mad.
Give it to her. They deserve it. Honestly, like even though I'm half white, because obviously to white people I'm Asian passing, it's just like, stop making assumptions. People be like, why are you always squinting at me? I have big eyes. Shut up.
Talking about like just letting it slide, I feel like from the George Floyd incident, I learned that we have to like stand up for ourselves. So whenever someone is racist towards you, you kind of have to like shout back. Because like I feel like if you don't do anything, they'll just keep on doing it. But it's hard, and also depends on the situation.
But you've got to make every move you can.
Because if you don't say anything and just let them do what they think is funny and what they think is okay, they'll keep on doing, and this thing will just never end. Racism will just never end.
Right?
Yeah.
Even if it's your closest friends, especially if it's your closest friends.
Oh my god, that is so hard.
My friend would often call me the C word. I don't know if I can say it.
Oh,
but
wow.
I let it happen, and I probably shouldn't have. I should have told her not to do that.
They actually did that?
Yeah.
That's
very
horrible.
Jokily.
Wait, what did you say?
Don't want to say that word.
No.
It's like really derogatory.
Oh my god.
Like for Chinese, I guess.
Oh my god.
I mean, just like the Asians.
Okay.
Yeah. Just, well. Yeah, it's bad. It's not good.
Yeah, it's sad, and we hope that things will get better.
Yes.
After
hopefully.
2020.
As Cassie said, we need to, because we're so used to staying quiet as Asians. I find it in myself as well. Like I let a lot of things slide, and sometimes I find myself a little less expressive than I normally am. And I'm just like, why am I like that? And then, I think we need to encourage each other to try and voice up our opinions. And then when other people are doing something that's not appropriate, you need to tell them that it's not appropriate.
Probably just say like, this is not okay. Like what you said is not okay or stuff like that. Not like yell at them, but like try to explain your thoughts, your feelings, and maybe they'll understand. And I feel like it's so important for Asians, because like in the Asian culture, I don't know, like parents tend to like say like, oh, keep quiet, just stay tough, you know, don't stick out too much,
be humble,
like yeah
that. I think, okay, it's good to encourage, but at the same time we should try and do it in a less aggressive way. Yeah. Okay, I think there's this thing that I noticed. So a few months ago, you know how like a lot of movements are happening, and like I understand that a lot of Asians may not be as vocal as the rest, and I find that a lot of Asians get blamed for it, like get yelled at because of our silence and our passiveness. But the more you yell at them to like voice up, the more quiet we're gonna be.
I feel like it takes some time for us to learn how to express ourselves, because we're not used to that. And so I feel like we need some time to know what we should do.
Yeah. I mean, obviously, we're still doing as many things as we can to contribute, but like for the voicing out part, like obviously we're trying, and like it will take some time. And I think I just hope that people can understand that too.
Yeah, definitely. That's a really good point.
I didn't think it was going to get that heavy when you said heavy.
Yeah.
Oh, Lord. Anyway. Yeah.
Wait, actually, something interesting to bring up. So as an Asian person in a Western country, there's quite a bit of racism happening, right? Not just with Asians, but obviously like with different races. But I find that in the Asian community or Asian culture, Asian countries, when a lot of people see like this foreigner, this white person, they're like, oh my God, this foreigner is here.
They glorify.
Yeah. White people, and they automatically see them as superior.
Yes,
maybe it could be like the consequence of our education and our upbringing. It's just kind of funny.
I know, yeah.
Yeah, people would be so a little over the top, you know.
Yeah.
And then
when we go to like a foreign country, we're treated like we're mistreated.
Not to, like, it's just like from experience, from
our experience.
Yeah, our experience. Okay. So, yeah. And I think because of that phenomenon, quite a bit of Asian girls in Asia have been taken advantage of by, I've seen some stuff in news, and there's things called like pickup artists, like air quotes, artists. Like they deliberately do things to like trick girls into sleeping with them. And then like Asian girls would be very vulnerable because they see white guys
and they don't know how to like speak up.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Or like they're just because they're like, ooh, a white guy. Ooh, so okay, even if that white guy is like not attractive or not like the best person or not the kindest person, they'll be like, ooh, that's a white guy. I want to get close to him. And then that guy would take advantage of her really, really easily because of that vulnerability. So like honestly, it's so heartbreaking. I've seen a video. Oh my God, it's so important to be careful and protect yourself.
God, it sucks so bad.
It sucks.
White people aren't special. They're just people.
Yeah, exactly.
We are all people.
We're all the same. We're all humans. We just look different. We have different beliefs. That's all.
We have to appreciate the differences, because if everybody was the same, this earth would be very, very boring. Boring as hell.
Yeah. Yeah. So I feel like we might have addressed this already, but what do you guys think you learned from these experiences? I mean, like learning from conflicts.
Mine's probably just that I should have probably not stood up, not stood for it. Yeah, you shouldn't let these things slide.
Yeah.
Like if your friend is doing this, you probably shouldn't be their friend.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah. For me, what I learned was being more independent, I guess, and having a thicker skin.
Definitely. I think that's so important.
Yeah. And what I was so like sensitive when I was in Taiwan. You know, like people could just like poke me and I would cry. I was really sensitive. And because like in the Asian culture, you're kind of like protected. And then when you go out of that bubble, you get stimulated a lot. And so I really grew a lot as a person.
That's good. Yeah.
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 Maybe I should go to Germany. I'm like a wet wipe.
What about you, Alice? What did you learn?
I guess in general, just be open to any experience, really, and like definitely be independent. I mean, I've always been rather independent as a kid, but be more independent in terms of like my opinions and thoughts, and like be more expressive and more vocal in certain situations where necessary.
I think I also learned to respect different cultures. Because me being like a foreigner and being like kind of mistreated, I would definitely respect other cultures because I was treated like that. So, for example, if I'm in Taiwan and there's a foreigner, I would definitely respect that person because I was in that position before.
Oh, wow. This is a deep topic. Should we kind of like, okay. I think it's something interesting, actually. So if you could live in a country or a place, what is your dream place to live in?
I think like on top of my head, I would say Singapore.
Oh, that's a good choice.
Because I feel like it's quite multicultural there. And
it is sexy.
And it's also in Asia. So like I'm used to the culture.
Yeah.
But then on the other hand, I love my seasons. It's always summer there.
Yeah.
I love my seasons. And if you live there, it's always going to be hot. Maybe Vancouver. I've never lived in Vancouver, but I feel like Vancouver is a really nice place to live in.
Yeah.
It's also really multicultural and it's so beautiful. If you look up on Google, like it's like a city. It's a big city, but then there's also like a lot of nature. You can go hiking. It's so, so pretty. And it's also like an English-speaking country, which is good because I wouldn't need to learn another language. Yeah. What about you, Tanya? Where is your ideal place to live in?
I really don't know. I don't like permanence, so I feel like I'd like to go around. I mean, like Singapore, I'd also love to try. Japan, I'd love to try. Also, Canada. You hear good things of these places.
Yeah.
I mean, the UK has its perks as well. It's my homeland, so I've got nothing to pout about being here.
For me, I mean, I think I'm pretty similar to Tanya. I feel like I can't stay in one place for a long time. I have to move around.
Gotta try
and
everywhere.
I want to try to go around in different cultures and experience just life. I mean, if I am financially stable, that is. But I think I would definitely want to try Canada because obviously I went to a Canadian school and just the vibes in general, you know. And I have a lot of friends in Canada, so I think being there would be quite nice and heartwarming. I'm just like, oh, Canada. I think if I were to say a place, I would also say Singapore because it's obviously closer to home and it's quite multicultural there, so I can interact with a lot of different people, eat a lot of different kinds of
good
food.
foods.
Oh.
That's a good way to end our episode.
If you're listening out here, what's your dream destination to live in? Envision yourself in 5 to 10 years. Where would you be? Okay, that's a hard question, but yeah, feel free to DM us on Instagram.
We'll just leave that question to you guys. We covered a lot for this episode. We hope that the topics that we talked about are resonating. I feel like we always learn a lot through these experiences, right? I personally feel like they're more positives than negatives.
Yeah, for sure. The positives definitely outweigh the negatives.
It's not all bad.
So, yeah, this was definitely a really insightful episode. We hope that from 2020 we will learn from our mistakes. I have hope, and I guess we'll sign off today. We will talk soon. Bye.
Bye. This is a phone call. Goodbye.
If you like this episode, feel free to share it with your friends and family. You can find us on all listening platforms, and don't forget to follow us on Instagram at Better Late Podcast to stay updated. Thank you guys for sticking around, and we hope to see y'all soon. Bye!